The 1940s heating trick modern furnaces can't touch. The World War II survival hack that never fails. If you think modern heating systems are the peak of comfort and reliability, let me drop a little truth from the shadows of World War II. There was a heating method so tough, so clean, so unstoppable that families kept warm through blackouts, fuel shortages, and the kind of bone-deep winter cold that makes steel shiver. No pumps, no electricity, no fragile parts waiting to fail. Just physics, raw, loyal, unbreakable. And here's the twist modern engineers don't want to admit. This 1940s system didn't just match modern furnaces. In the worst conditions, it outperformed them. Now we're cooking. Let's get into the good stuff. When fuel got rationed during World War II, people didn't have the luxury of dialing a thermostat. They were living through a time when oil lines ran dry, coal deliveries froze in rail yards, and power grids collapsed under storms or air raid demands. Winter didn't care about politics or supply chains. It pressed against windows, it crept into bones, it threatened survival. So families, mechanics, and a whole lot of brilliant improvisers turned to something ancient, simple, and weirdly powerful. Gravity. Yes, gravity. The one force that never takes a day off. Hot water rises, cold water sinks. That's the entire engine behind one of history's most reliable heating systems, the thermosiphon loop. No motors, no wiring, no fancy gauges blinking at you. Just a smart arrangement of pipes, radiators, and a heat source placed in exactly the right spots. The stove or boiler sat low, usually in a basement or ground-level room. A copper or iron line sloped upward toward radiators on the floor above. As the stove heated the water, the hot water naturally pushed upward, drifting into the radiators, releasing warmth, then sinking back down to be reheated. The circulation never stopped because the laws of physics never stopped. Families in the 1940s didn't call it thermosiphon flow. They just knew it worked every time the fire was lit. And during World War II, that reliability was gold. Because while electric pumps froze, broke or shut down the moment the power flickered, this gravity system kept chugging quietly in the background. No sound, no moving parts, nothing to maintain except the occasional tightening of a joint or brushing of a chimney. And that simplicity was part of its genius. When the world outside was unstable, homes with gravity heating were surprisingly steady. But don't let the simplicity fool you. These systems were built with finesse. People scavenged whatever they could find. Pipes from abandoned buildings, old industrial radiators pulled from schools, offices, and factories. Some of those radiators were heavy enough to flatten a wheelbarrow, but that thickness wasn't just old-school overkill. Those iron monsters stored heat like a battery. Once hot, they stayed hot. Hours after the fire faded, the radiators still glowed with warmth, keeping families alive through the blackest nights of wartime winter. The secret to making the loop run smoothly was height and slope. The pipes had to rise steadily. No dips, no sags, no lazy curves where air pockets could trap heat and choke circulation. When the angle was right, the system ran like a silent river. When it wasn't, the whole loop stalled. So families got good at pipe placement. And once you understand the rule, heat climbs, cold drops, you see the strategy behind every 1940s gravity layout. Radiators were often mounted under windows. Sounds strange, right? But rising warm air meets incoming cold drafts, neutralizing the chill instantly. That simple placement trick boosted comfort and reduced wasted heat. And instead of heating an entire house, most families created hot zones, clusters of 2 or 3 connected rooms where cooking, working, sleeping, and living happened. These zones were easier to heat, used less fuel, and made warmth more predictable. This wasn't luxury. This was survival engineering, the kind of thinking that didn't care about comfort first. It cared about results. And here's where things get even more interesting. Many homes kept their gravity systems after the war, even when modern furnaces became affordable. Why? Because the gravity system just worked, year after year. Power outage after power outage. No waiting for parts, no repair bills, no dependency on electronics. It was the heating equivalent of an old cast iron skillet. Heavy, simple, eternal. Fast forward to today, and off-grid builders are quietly resurrecting these systems, not as museum pieces, as backbone technology. Pair a thermosiphon loop with an insulated storage tank, and you've got a 24-hour thermal engine. Heat absorbed during the day, slow, steady release through the night, almost no impact on battery reserves, no noise in a world filled with noise, no failure points in a world built on fragile convenience. That's the part modern prepping sometimes misses. True resilience doesn't come from stacking gadgets. It comes from understanding systems that keep running when gadgets fail. Systems built on physics. Systems built on laws older than electricity. And the thermosiphon loop? It's the perfect example. A heating method that doesn't age, doesn't corrode your patience, doesn't need a user manual. It just performs. Even when the grid collapses. Even when fuel is scarce. Even when the world outside feels shaky. So here's the real takeaway. The greatest survival systems from World War II weren't always weapons, bunkers, or code machines. Sometimes, they were humble radiators humming quietly while the world shook. They were low-tech marvels built by regular people using knowledge we've almost forgotten. At Wisdom from the Frontlines, these are the stories and the systems we bring back to life. Because the past didn't just survive, it thrived under pressure. And the more we learn from it, the more unshakable we become. If this breakdown sparked something in you, make sure you subscribe, share this with someone serious about resilience, and keep exploring the forgotten skills that still beat modern technology when it matters most.